We've been talking about all things Dune on this channel recently as we gear up for Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2, which is slated to release later this year. One thing that we know is that a lot of scheming is always happening in the Dune universe. With multiple factions and houses vying for power at all times, everything is political. Duke Leto, Paul's father, was no stranger at all to the politics. Check out our video on him for more information. However, in this video, we will explain why Duke Leto chose not to marry Lady Jessica, and rather kept her as his concubine. Intrigued? Keep watching.
There's no need to fight over me.
What are the political reasons behind not marrying Jessica? One of the biggest and most powerful great houses in the Imperium, the House of Atreides, is ruled by Duke Leto at the start of the events of Frank Herbert's first novel. Duke Leto ruled justly over an affluent and valiant people in the ocean realm of Caladan. He then eventually acquired a concubine, who is none other than the beautiful Lady Jessica from the Bene Gesserit, a sisterhood of powerfully trained women with supernatural skills that wielded considerable influence across the whole Imperium, much like many of the major houses. Leto and Jessica produced a child, Paul, who was to be Leto's heir, but they also eventually fell in love despite Jessica having been brought up and prepared from birth to simply be Leto's concubine. In fact, it is confirmed in Dune that Jessica giving birth to a son rather than a daughter, something a sister of the Bene Gesserit could actually control thanks to their unique fertility powers, was in direct contravention of the Bene Gesserit's plans. It was the result of Lady Jessica's desire to provide Leto an heir because of her love for him. Leto and Jessica, however, never got married, unlike other major house leaders who wedded their Bene Gesserit concubines. This seems quite weird to many viewers, especially ones newer to the franchise, considering they seem to share a good relationship. However, the machinations working in the background are as follows. Forming political alliances through marriage in the Imperium. The short and most important reason as to why he never wed Lady Jessica, despite there being lots of love between the two of them, is the fact that he wanted to keep himself free in the case of a possible marriage alliance with any of the other houses. Lady Jessica didn't provide him with any political advantages that a marriage alliance could, which he could have required in the future. This makes complete sense considering politics in the Dune universe often saw marriage alliances take place to cement friendships and partnerships, especially amongst the noble houses. Leto is seen as a rising star in the Landsrads and the Imperial Court's sphere of noble politics at the start of the story. Being unmarried was his way of showing that he was open to forming an alliance with another great or lower house through marriage to a noble or member of their family. However, while this was the main reason, there were also others that impacted Duke Leto's reasoning.
When? Where? Something.
A rigid hierarchy and nobility system within the Dune universe. Leto Atreides was a byproduct of his own upbringing and social environment. He was raised to believe that he was superior to people who were lower than him, just like every other noble or royal in the Imperium, and it was crucial for him to uphold that ideal. Jessica was a Bene Gesserit, although neither her parents' names nor her lineage was known. The Bene Gesserit Reverend Mothers kept her ancestry a closely guarded secret. However, it has been speculated that she may have been of common blood, as she arrived without a name, fortune, or titles. In a rigid feudal system, she was hence viewed as a nobody. Thus, he believed that he had a duty to his people and to the throne, which is what kept him from marrying Jessica, despite having a son with her. It is, however, speculated that Duke Leto believed Lady Jessica to be of noble origin, but without any concrete proof, he simply could not move forward. With the other houses watching him like a hawk, he had to be always on his toes. It is important to understand that Duke Leto did not mean to hurt Lady Jessica by not marrying her. He is shown to be an honorable man with his own values and gentlemanly ideals, and the two of them may have a deep affection for one another. He is, however, a product of his background and his deeply ingrained ideas, despite his good intentions and lofty ambitions. And even if this comes across as excessively honorable, even costing him his life because he doesn't engage in any political schemes, you can't argue that there was no pain associated with the way he exercised and used his birthrights and authority. Jessica was obviously hurt as a result of Leto's decision not to marry her, even after their son had grown up and was ready to follow in Leto's footsteps. She was also instructed to keep quiet and know her place. As we can see from history, living as a concubine is never easy.
You gave me a son, and from the moment he was born, I never questioned you. I trusted you completely.
Lady Jessica also believed that Leto should remain unmarried. There is also a flip side to the fact that Leto wanted to remain unmarried due to political reason. Lady Jessica was trained by the Bene Gesserit, and as a result, her views on the subject were nuanced as well. At times, she herself insisted that her Duke keep the door open to an alliance with another house of the Landsraad through marriage to a daughter or a cousin. However, of course, as a person, Lady Jessica was opposed to the thought of having a lower position than another woman, especially when she has already shared a bed with the Duke and is the mother of his child. Leto, in his devotion to Lady Jessica, refrained from contemplating any propositions and vacillated on the verge of leaving the Imperium for an extended period of time, pondering even purchasing a property on Two-Pile for House Atreides. However, Leto was just as torn on the subject as Jessica was due to his own political background and Atreides' history.
Leto, this is not you.
Did Duke Leto regret not marrying Lady Jessica? Duke Leto harbored immense regrets and wished that he had wed Lady Jessica. He expressed this regret right before the attack by House Harkonnen, which ultimately led to his death. Leto had more faith in Jessica than he did in most others, especially when he transported House Atreides from Caladan to Arrakis at the Emperor's request, despite knowing full well that it was a trap and that he and his people would soon be encircled by foes on all sides. Political reasons prevented their marriage, but their depiction in Dune makes it apparent that they could have been very happily married. Leto even once instructed Paul to tell his mother that in the event of his death, he wanted her to know that his mistrust of her was only an act, that she was the love of his life, and that he regretted that he could not marry her since she would have made a beautiful duchess. However, many have also speculated that the bitter truth is that Duke Leto would not have wed Jessica even if he had survived the attack and what followed, even with their foes vanquished and the Atreides in command. So, regret or no regret, if he had lived, he probably wouldn't have done it, despite his love and fairness. People who have read the novels or even followed the movies or the series know that in the Imperium, politics governs all. Love is quite secondary. Take, for example, the Muad'Dib Paul Atreides himself. He also didn't marry Chani, the woman he loved, instead marrying Princess Irulan for political gain instead. Do you think Duke Leto could have married Lady Jessica without any backlash? Let us know in the comments section down below.
Will you protect our son?
With my life.
I'm not asking his mother, I'm asking the Bene Gesserit.